Okay, hello there. Just want to make sure everything, yep, we're recording. Okay, we are on the air. Wagtunes here. Special shout out to Tehran, Dr. Bob, Z Prime, and the rest of the One Synth Challenge crew. This is going to be a really quick and down and dirty tutorial on the BR808 because this thing's a little buggy in my system. And I've been having some problems with it, so I'm going to try to make this as quick as I can so that you can use this as basically as possible, so you're not as confused as I was when I first opened this thing. Okay, first thing we're going to do is we're going to clear this to get the default values. Alright, we're going to start from scratch. This is what you're going to get when you actually open up the thing. If you take a listen, I don't even know if you can hear that. That's the default patch, which is just a sine wave. Everything is turned down really low. You can barely hear it. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go to voice, go to oscillators. I'm going to change the sine wave to a sawtooth up. Okay? Just by doing that, you could tell that at least you get a sound that you could actually hear now. Now if you listen carefully, if I'm going to sustain a note, you notice it really kind of dies out quickly. The sustain level is very low. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to ADSRs, and I'm going to bring the decay all the way up. Okay, much better. Still kind of low, so we're going to go to globals, and we're going to take the main volume, which is set at minus 11 dB. We're going to bring it up to 0. You should hear that much better now. That is pretty much the default patch that I'm kind of used to with most synths, which is your basic sawtooth wave, full sustain. Okay, now we have something we can work with that we can actually hear. Again, this is just a suggestion. You can work with whatever you want, but that sine wave was driving me crazy. Okay, let's go back to voice, and let's go back to oscillators. Now, you'll notice you have 1, 2, 3, all the way through 8. You have 8 different oscillators. The default is set to additive. I'm going to change this to subtractive. Okay? And I'm going to go to filters. Right now you'll notice that the default filter is set to none. I'm going to bring up a Moog low pass. Now, see the cutoff where it's set right now? Whoa, turn that down. Turn it down to about, I don't know, 479 maybe. You can play around with that. I noticed that with that cutoff set really high, this thing distorts like crazy. So you want to be careful with this. Now you'll notice we've kind of filtered out the sound. We start bringing this up, and the filter starts letting more sound through. Now, here's basic modulation, basic mod wheel modulation. Took me a while to figure this out, but it's really easy. Go to the modulation matrix right there on the right. Click on Add. Okay, you'll notice it says None. We're going to change this to controller. Unfortunately, there is no mod wheel parameter. Everything is controllers. Well, the mod wheel is controller number 001. Okay, we're going to set this. The default is global channel volume. We're going to change this to, if I can find it, filter cutoff. Okay, now I want you to watch something. My mod wheel right now is set all the way down to the bottom. I'm playing right now, but you're not hearing anything. As I move the mod wheel up, you start to hear the sound come through, but at the lowest mod wheel setting, there's no sound. That is because of the from and to parameters for the hertz for the cutoff. What you want to do is you want to change from 20 to, oh my goodness, well, let's make it 450. Then, with the mod wheel all the way down, you do start to hear some sound. Okay, and as you move the mod wheel up, the filter starts to let more sound through. If you leave it set at 20, your lowest mod wheel setting, you will not get any sound at all, unless of course you move the filter, the actual main filter cutoff up more. But if you don't want to do that, if you want a low cutoff to start with, you're going to have to change the from parameter. This is just basic mod wheel modulation on a filter. It applies to everything. Okay? Anything that you want to do, you go through the modulation matrix. There are some that are set by default, velocity, volume. Please do not touch these. You start taking these out or changing them, you're going to find you're not going to get any sound at all. It appears that a lot of the modulation matrix by default makes it so that you can even hear anything at all. So don't mess with it. If you want to do something, just click on add and add parameters as you go along. Everything else is just basically just going through it. You've got ADSRs, you've got envelopes for your oscillators, you've got LFOs, you can assign LFOs, you could do that through the mod matrix. You've got distortion. There's a lot of stuff here. If you take it one thing at a time, it's not complicated. But you do have, whatever you do, every single parameter, oscillators, ADSRs, envelopes, LFOs, filters, every single one is individual for every single oscillator, 1 through 8. I have not found any way to globally route more than one oscillator through a single envelope ADSR or LFO. If somebody figures out how to do that, please let me know. But as far as I can tell, every oscillator has its own filter, LFO, envelope, and so on. Once you get that, this really becomes kind of easy. It's time consuming to make patches with this because first of all, a lot of parameters, like for example, this one that I changed from 20 to 450, you have to type in figures manually by hand. There's no sliders for a lot of these things, which is a royal pain. Most things, though, do have sliders, and they're pretty easy to use. Okay, that's about it for basic stuff. If anybody's got any specific things that you want me to go over, I have yet to figure out how to get samples to work. I've loaded them in, I've mapped them, and yet for some reason, no matter what I do, I can't get any sound from them. Which doesn't matter because for the OSC, we can't use samples anyway. If anybody, like I said, if anybody has any specific questions, I'll be happy to do a tutorial for them. But this is just to get you started so you actually get some sound out of this and you could do some basic mod wheel, modulation on your sounds. Okie dokie, this was Wagtunes from the KVR forum. Again, shout out to the OSC guys. I love you, you're the best. And I'll catch you on the flip-flop.